On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumna, Dr. Carol Herbert, to address Convocation.
Mr. Chancellor, President Chakma, Acting Dean Cheng, faculty, family, friends, and graduands. I am honored beyond measure to receive an honorary degree from Western University, where I was proud to serve as Dean of Medicine and Dentistry and as professor. I knew of this great university before we ever came to London through the many satisfied customers represented initially among my university-aged friends, and then the children of my friends. Western has been a popular destination for many years for students from the west of Canada who seek a university education, with the reputation of student-friendly services that contrast with other large Canadian universities. What I learned firsthand at Western was how deeply held the value of student-centeredness is here. Everywhere I had the pleasure and privilege to interact with faculty and administration across faculties, schools, and institutes. I hope that your personal experience as students and graduate students resonates with what I am saying. Your learning and success have mattered to your teachers and your academic leaders, and they are celebrating with you today at this capstone event in your educational careers, and will continue to celebrate your future successes. The other celebrants in this room are your parents, partners, children, and loved ones. I congratulate them on your success because they have been major contributors, directly and indirectly. Please stand now and turn to them and let us acknowledge their tremendous assistance to you. You can take your seats again. But the stars of the show are you graduating students. You've worked hard to achieve your degrees, and you deserve to be congratulated and to savor the moment when you walk across the stage. I must confess that I do not remember who received an honorary degree when I graduated from science or from medicine, nor do I remember exactly what they said. Since I do want you to remember what I say, not necessarily me, but what I say, I want to offer two messages illustrated by stories, since we remember stories more often than we remember lectures. The first message is about acknowledging our privilege, because while you have been diligent in your studies, and some of you I know will have personal stories of hardship, the fact that you and I are here today is evidence of our privileged position. The key words from our first story will be privilege, responsibility, opportunity, and passion. The formula for the scientists to remember is PROP, P-R-O-P, privilege, responsibility, opportunity, and passion. First story. My father came to Canada from Russia when he was 4 years old. His story was a common immigrant story. His older siblings worked from their teens to support his widowed mother, and so that my father and his younger brother could go to school. My grandmother was helped by her brothers in Winnipeg, who had immigrated earlier. My father went to university on scholarship and graduated from the University of Saskatchewan with a law degree. He articled in Drumheller, Alberta, and eventually became a successful solo practitioner of law, first in Alberta and then in BC. He married my mother, born in Seattle to parents from Turkey and the island of Rhodes, second generation, who had emigrated as teenagers. I am second of 4 daughters. From my earliest childhood memory, my father reminded the 4 of us often how fortunate we were to live in Canada, to be able to go to school, and to be successful students. When we achieved high marks, while he acknowledged that we had studied diligently, he emphasized that our capacity was not something we had earned. It was a gift to us from our genetic makeup, our family and community, underpinned by the values of our country. Being Canadian was a privilege. Being financially comfortable was a privilege. Education was a privilege, not to be taken lightly. A privilege that afforded the opportunity to choose whatever career we were passionate about. There was no pressure to choose a particular career path, and we each chose different paths, but there was explicit instruction that the corollary of privilege is responsibility. No matter what we chose to do in our careers, it was our responsibility to give back to our community and our country. We could choose the how, the when, and the where, but not whether we gave back. That family message was very strong, and I have passed that on to my children. My challenge to you today as you receive graduate degrees from the faculties of Science, Social Sciences, and Schulich Medicine and Dentistry is to reflect on the gifts you have been given, to acknowledge your privilege and your responsibility, to embrace opportunities for yourselves, but also opportunities to assist others, and to be as passionate about ensuring the success of others as you are about your own success. The formula, again, is PROP, PROP. Privilege, responsibility, opportunity, and passion. Choose how you can prop up others as you advance yourselves and your immediate families. Choose how you can pay it forward for what you have received from your family and friends, from your community and university. Maybe not financially for a while, as I'm highly sympathetic to the costs you have incurred and the debt that many of you will carry for the next several years. But pay it forward with your time and talent, as scientists who have learned to be critical thinkers. The world today sorely needs citizens who can assess evidence and critically assess the outcomes that are appropriate and make reasoned judgments. There will be many opportunities in your workplace, but also as volunteers in community organizations and as teachers, as mentors. You can start small, but start. Contribute to your community. My second message, as a woman in science myself, is particularly directed to the women graduates today, but I hope that it resonates with all of you. In 2018, it is still unfortunately true that there is a lower likelihood that women in science will progress to professorial rank. More women continue to drop out of academic positions than their male counterparts. This is particularly true for those of you who choose to have children. Make no mistake, it is a juggling act to balance career and family. Second story. I can testify to feeling terrible when I missed my son's first steps because I was on call that weekend at the hospital. It still makes me sad 47 years later. I felt guilty when I was at work that I wasn't at home enough, and I felt guilty at home that I wasn't at work enough. But I figured out a career path that allowed me to do both jobs, different from what I might have done had I not had children, but a career path that has been reasonably successful. I became a highly efficient time manager, and I also learned that I couldn't do everything myself. For example, and this may sound a bit weird to you in 2018, but in my younger years, there was this internalized expectation that if people came over for you to entertain, I had to make dessert myself. It was liberating to figure out that I could buy dessert and the world wouldn't end. I worked part-time while my children were young, my 3 children were young, and I was a single parent for 10 years, reliant on a wonderful nanny who could be there for my children when I couldn't be. I tell you my personal story so you will not be misled by my citation or CV or anyone else's that you hear into thinking that a career is all planned out and a sequential, smooth trajectory. It doesn't work like that. Our career paths are a combination of design, luck, opportunities taken, and workarounds. I have been incredibly fortunate to have had opportunities to be encouraged by mentors and to apply my passion and experience in many different venues, some of them that I never imagined. I've also had my share of workarounds, which by and large came out all right, though they were challenging at the time. And once again, I acknowledge that I was privileged in that my income was sufficient for me to hire a nanny, and I was fortunate to have family around as backup. So I encourage the women scientists graduating today to hang in there, to do the juggling act required to balance career and family, to look for workplaces that will support your complex lives, to seek mentors who will encourage and support you. But I ask all of you, men and women graduates and current and future faculty leaders, to level the playing field, to insist that your departments enact and enforce policies that will make it possible for women faculty to succeed as researchers, teachers, and administrators. And these benefits will also benefit male faculty with children who participate actively in the care of their children. The investment in a family-friendly workplace will increase the likelihood that we do not lose high-quality contributors within the Academy. Social justice depends upon the engagement of individuals who acknowledge their own privilege, have compassion and understanding for the intergenerational impact of injustice on individuals and communities, and who take the opportunity to stand up for what is right, even when it is personally difficult or challenging. Each small win increases the likelihood that we can have a more just society. I know that we can count on you incrementally to add to that likelihood by how you will live your lives personally and professionally. I have no doubt that each of you will be successful in your career path and that you will rightfully enjoy the rewards that will come from your work. But I ask that you remember to acknowledge your privilege and responsibility, take the opportunity to contribute to social change that will make it possible or easier for others to succeed, including your academic colleagues who are juggling family and professional lives, and to be passionate advocates for fairness and justice. I am very proud to be a member of your graduating class, and I wish you every success.